week on, still no foal, so that's superb. This is going to be a bit of a tricky one to film. I'm not really sure how I'm going to do it, but I guess I'm just going to go throughout my day and then tell you my life story. I have just got to the yard, I have just fed. When I was really little, our main holidays were going to Devon to visit my aunt and uncle. They have a farm, and that was where the story starts. They had a pony called Flash. He was old. He was, well, I rode him till he was 35. So he was pretty old when I first started, but he was my cousin's pony. And I used to get to just go and ride him and have the best time. We are slowly getting more and more sorted. We have a hot shower that works again. We have a pile of rubbish. But the tack room is lovely and organised, so this is really nice. So throughout the time that I was riding in Devon, my family started allowing me to go to a riding school locally. I went to the London Equestrian Centre, which is in Mill Hill in London. I learnt everything, basically. I had some amazing coaching from some people that I still know now, which is pretty cool. And that was from when I was 6 to when I was 12, basically. Yeah, so a good 6 years. This is the worst videoing I've ever done. I'm trying to get tack together for Kenko. For 6 years, that's what I did. Every week, religiously, I would help as much as I could. I ended up riding all the naughty ponies because I didn't fall off very much. I had an amazing time at the LEC. I learned more than I thought possible at a riding school. I learned more than just about how to ride a pony. I learned about care and management and people. Very, very grateful to it. Right, I've got to put this camera down for a second because I'm trying to ride this horse and... So when I was 12, I got a pony. My parents had come to the conclusion that it was inevitable. So we bought a pony called Pluto. He was £3,000, and that was the most money that we had at the time to do that sort of thing, and I was just so grateful. He was the best. He couldn't canter, jumping was patchy, but he was everything that I needed him to be, because I learnt everything about owning your own horse and training a horse and how not to train a horse and what it feels like to make something yourself and achieve something, and that was what I learned from Pluto. I got some little clips and some pictures and stuff of me on him. So I had him from when I was 12 to 16, and then when I was 16 I grew out of him, and then we bought a bigger horse. Her name was Teasel. She was gigantic, like 16'1" or something, and I think she was 4. So at the time I didn't know that horses grew that much, so I was pretty naive. And that's interesting. And didn't really know what I was doing. So she was enormous, and she was a lot for me to do. But again, I kept learning, I kept growing, I kept failing and trying again and failing and trying again. And the one thing is I never ever gave up. I never had days where I was like, I don't want to do this. I always had days where I just wanted to be better. And from a really early age, that was like what my driving force was. I always just wanted to be better all the time. I'm going to ride and then turn out and then muck out, because then I can have them out in the field for more time in this beautiful sunshine. Okay. So when I had the new horse for about 6 months, I had to do some work experience for school, and I managed to get some work experience at a show jumpers yard in Rickmansworth. It was, I learnt all sorts. I went to shows, I learnt how to deal with big horses. That was great. And then after that, I decided that I was going to go and be based there, keep my horse there, pay full livery to have my horse there. Here we have some learning moments. And also work there completely for free. And I was a bit exploited, I think. Well, I definitely was. But I was always paid in experience. So definitely, if you're given an opportunity to help somewhere and not be paid, but be paid in experience, then I think that is an important opportunity to take, because if somebody's willing to give you the time to help you, then take that, because they've had to work hard for what they've learned. So yeah, for me, work experience has always been a hugely important thing for me. It's always unpaid work experience. It's always led me to greater things. We're going to go do some groundwork, and then we're going to ride if she's good in her body. So I actually stayed unpaid for a really long time, a good couple of years. I followed the guy that I worked for to Essex. He had a base at Norton Heath, which doesn't exist anymore, which is a real shame. It's a really great equestrian centre. He rented a barn there, and I was encouraged to buy the horse that I currently still have, Nanette. You know, the old one that lives in a field? She's 25 now. She was 15 at the time. She was a Grade A, travelled all over the world. She was meant to be like a really... Oh, look, change of subject. I don't know if you can see that. There are the swifts, swifts, not sure, on the fence. And that's Nanette, so that's appropriate. But that is so cool, they've come back, it's summer.
It brings a tear to my eyes.
Every day when I get on this horse, it fills me with, because of this active reaction. Had the best ride on Kenko. I just left the camera filming, so the battery died, so I couldn't do like any sitting on her filming. I wouldn't have done that actually today because it was a bit fragile, but we got canter half pass, leg yield, simple changes. I had my pony back. Yesterday was traumatizing. The weather was absolutely appalling. Like, raining sideways. I had a lesson, and I'm glad I did, because we focused a lot on the quality and the groundwork, and then did the ridden stuff, and I could only trot. We didn't canter yesterday. Like, this is what it's like. It's like training a roller coaster ride. But today I did all the same things through the ground pattern, and it was like straight away so much better. Yesterday it was like there was a devil in the hedge. She couldn't focus. But today, you were amazeballs. Wanna go in a field? Wanna go in a field with a pregnant lady? You're very tolerant, aren't you? You're like a midwife. Follows her around all day, waiting for her to have a child. I just watched the video back, and there's no canter in it. The canter was the best bit. Bloody cameras. Anyway, must get on. So I realised I never actually finished talking about Nanette. So the older horse, I bought her when she was 15, and she had been an under-18s horse for her previous owner, a bloke. Looking back, should have been a red flag. When I tried her, I've never been so fast on a horse in my life, and she didn't want to do it anymore. They sold me a bad horse. We spent a lot of money, more money than I ever thought I would get to spend on a horse, and I had one chance, and we put a lot of money in, inheritance money that I had gained from my grandma, and it was a waste. She'd stopped and stopped and stopped and stopped and stopped, and I wasn't as good as I could be, but I wasn't terrible, and I needed something that would help me out, and we bought something that wouldn't help at all. It was such a shame, because the guy that I worked for had obviously earned out of it, and then he disappeared. he went and got a job for someone else and stopped working at Norton Heath. It just all seemed a bit too fishy. So I learnt very early on that you don't trust people in the horse industry, unfortunately. And it really put me off selling horses. I did sell horses for a bit at Norton Heath on behalf of somebody else, but I never really enjoyed it. It wasn't really what I wanted to do, and it was hard work, and I wasn't very good at it. From Norton Heath, I basically sold horses on behalf of somebody else, tried to. Again, I learned so much all the time. I just felt like all of what I was doing wasn't going to be what I was doing in the long run, but it was just facilitating learning. I had a good friend that did it with me. Her name was Jodie. If you're watching this, Jodie, you're still such a legend. I couldn't have learned more from you. She was older than me and savvy and smart, and she put me in touch with somebody locally who was at the time the leading lady rider in the country, show jumping. And so we moved there. 5 stables, I think. At this point, I had bought this horse, who had actually come to me to be sold. This is Mo. Probably take me to the field in a second, because that's how she behaves these days. So Mo had come in. Mo came to me to be sold. Didn't work, did it? I told you I wasn't very good at it. I bought her for myself to jump some British Novice and Discovery on, and then to sell. She was, that was close, wild. I fell off so much. I'm trying really hard to find some pictures of me falling off at Norton Heath, because God, did I learn how to sit up quick on this one. Sharp as they come. So maybe this is where I get my good at breaking horses in from. Come on, fat girl. So I bought her, and then I moved, and so then I had great training. I had great training because I was then based on one of the best show jumping yards in the country. I pretty quickly stopped trying to sell rubbish for someone else, and basically just started working on myself. I had one in to sell every now and again to pay some bills, but not really anything consistently. Stay getting fat, guys. I did a lot of learning again when I was there. A lot about how show jumping works, about how producing young horses works. And I learned a huge amount about Mo, and that was invaluable because it meant I went from jumping Discovery to Fox Hunter pretty quick, and to learn how to sit up even quicker. Just done a quick tack swap. I'm going to take Obi-Wan out for a hack. So, there was one thing I did definitely learn from working in Essex, and that was how not to treat staff. The people I worked for were amazing, but I was sworn at quite a lot, and that was hard. It made me feel a bit bad about myself, and I definitely learned that girls run on affirmation, as in being told that we are good at what we do, whereas guys run on their ego, so you can be tough on a guy. It was hard. It was a really hard bit of time being spoken to badly and made to feel like I wasn't good enough. But I just kept stepping up. I just kept trying harder. They used to put me on this horse. Hang on one second. They used to put me on this horse, and it wasn't a very careful horse, as in it jumps down quite a lot. So they used to let me ride that because I wasn't very good at seeing a stride. So then I made it think a bit more for itself. That's a demoralising moment. And then I learned to see a stride. And then I did a really good job with that horse because I then helped the horse be better rather than just doing it their way, which wasn't so positive. From Essex, I went to Oxfordshire for a while. This was the furthest I'd been away from home, which was pretty terrifying. I met my best friend there. She's still my best friend now. I didn't spend very long there. Maybe 3 months. Not a fan. Didn't enjoy that very much. I was very much promised riding, and I was very much groom. But I didn't have to learn a lot. I learned how to give a horse a wicked bath with a bucket. I learned that when you skip out a horse's bed, you have to remake the bed, not leave a big hole in it. I did that for a while. yeah, so I learned a lot there. I learned a lot about prep and how to make them look nice and how to trim them properly, because my best friend is probably one of the best grooms that I've ever met. I've never learned anyone clip like she can. So yeah, that was another learning experience. Didn't get paid very much, lived in a not very nice place, but it was another learning experience. So I don't know if you can see how this is going, guys, but there's a lot of learning before I got to where I am, and I'm definitely still learning now. And this is by no means a video like, oh, I've made it. Not in my book, I've not made it. I want to be bigger and better and, you know, somebody before I've made it. Anyway, so on to the next chapter. I got offered a job at a big yard in Hertfordshire as a rider and a groom and a bit of everything, and I bit the hand off. They offered me a pension, they offered for me to be on a payroll, they offered me paid holiday. It was a proper job. My mum was so proud of me. She was like, they're gonna pay you holiday? I was like, yeah, amazing, right? Actual set days off. I could have my horse there for very little money. I could go to shows, I could have training. It was the best thing I've ever done. And I literally couldn't wait. I couldn't get there fast enough. It all came through a friend, as these things always do. It's all about who you know. And it was the best time. I learnt so much. I learnt how to break horses in there. I rode a lot of ponies. They had a riding school too. I learnt again to ride Mo. I went from jumping like newcomers fox hunter to jumping 130s pretty quick. And the first lesson I had with Mo, my trainer was like, what is this? It was fast and flat and untalented, and because I had not much riding at the previous yard, the training had gone a bit out the window from Essex, so we kind of had to start again. But it got better. Everything was so above board, and that was such a nice change, because in horses it's often not. It's cash in hand, and you just get what you're given, and you put up and shut up, and you do this many hours. And no, it was all much more organised and set up properly. So that was fantastic. I made the decision after a while of working there, a good few years, maybe 3-4 years, to become self-employed. My boyfriend at the time was self-employed, and he thought I could do better. So off I went, and I stayed working there a bit, and then I started riding elsewhere. That was really hard. Like, I was really poor. I was not managing particularly well, riding ponies for people for no money, and generally trying to build up a business, trying to build up a clientele. And to be fair, it was the beginning of all of what I'm doing now. At the time it was pretty hard. I was really like not sure about how it was going to go, so yeah, that was a bit of a tricky time. So I was poor for a while, but I suppose that's like with anything in life, these things, you've got to start somewhere, haven't you? I went on to do my level 2, my UKCC level 2. I did that at Kiso, and that was amazing. I learned so much. So I went and taught on the riding school at the big yard that I had worked at for a while, and I would just do a couple of days, and that was the best thing. I learned so much about how to coach and how not to coach, and how to get the best out of people and how to not get the best out of people. I've had something on my face this whole time. So that's how I learnt my trade as a coach, basically. That and my UKCC. I just kept going, and I kept my horses at a place near where I was living with my ex-boyfriend, and I learned about how to manage a yard, a very little yard with just my own horses and their 2 horses. So that was the start of having a yard, basically. And then it fell apart with the ex-boyfriend, and I ended up going back to the big yard I worked at, keeping my horse there for a while, kept teaching on the riding school, kept working there a little bit, and then another opportunity came along. I survived another hack. So I am going to untack Obi and then I'm going to muck out. Lovely. I've got to go and teach at 12 o'clock, so I'm going to try and get all that done before I go. I'll tell you some more of my story when I'm mucking out. Hi! Are you okay? Is that the I want to come in so I can have a foal face? No, I didn't think so. It is officially due in 2 days on my birthday, Monday. Woo! So, yeah. I don't think that's going to happen though, because stuff like that just doesn't work, does it? It's just not how it works. So from there I went and worked for a family in Hertfordshire. We had some young horses in to produce. We bought Kenko and people sent horses in for us to school and back and all of that sort of thing. And that was great. It really gave me an opportunity to start running a yard, but I was paid a wage, so I could live a bit more normally. I wasn't so poor. I could enjoy it a bit more and have my own horses, and we went to shows and it was the best opportunity. I learned a huge amount about running a business. I learned a huge amount about producing young horses. And then from there I went on to running Hackett Equine in the yard where I was before this one. It was a time where I was learning still, and I've definitely made some mistakes and I've definitely upset some people, and that is not an easy part of business. It's not plain sailing, and I think that's so important to be okay with. And we do just have to keep going and keep trying to do better and to not do it again and to not make the same mistakes twice. It's an uphill and downhill and uphill and then downhill again struggle when it comes to running an equine business, equestrian business, because they're not computers, they don't run smoothly. It is really difficult. But over the last couple of years, four years or so, I have worked really hard to build up what I am doing today, and I have a really good base of clients. I did my level 3 in the last year, so I'm now a UKCC accredited BS coach. So that means I can teach camps and training camps and all of that kind of thing if I wanted to. And that kind of brings me up to current day. It's something that I definitely want to talk about though, and it was something that a wise person said to me. Have a trade. If you want to work in horses, have a trade. Have something that somebody will pay you to do. There is a huge amount of this, the mucking out. And yes, you can make that your trade if you're good at it, and you're good at turnout, and you're good at show prep, and you're good at clipping and the care, and you're not shy hard work, then fine. But it is very hard to make a really decent living at. And I have found that through my coaching, I can earn money. For me, I have achieved doing what I wanted to do when I was young, and that was being paid to ride and train horses. And I have only been able to do that because I gained experience by learning how to train people to train horses. That was a really important cycle that I learned to coach so that I could help others. That has helped my ability to ride. It has helped my ability to have people skills and to develop myself. And I can't recommend it highly enough. If you want to get into horses, have something that someone is willing to pay you for a proper price of money, not at £5, £6 an hour minimum wage, because it's hard to make a living. Another very important thing that I learned was to know my worth. And that one took a long time. People tell you how much you're worth. They tell you how much they're willing to pay you when you're employed. And when you become self-employed, it takes a long time for you to build up an understanding of what your worth is to yourself. It's something that has taken me, I'm 27. I've only just got it. So that is the end of today's video. I'm now at home watching a little bit of badminton while it rains. And I'm going back out to do some more teaching in a little while. I really appreciate the fact that you guys want to watch this sort of video about me and my story. It makes me, well, I'm grateful to you guys for your support. In essence, I think this video is a lot about learning I just want to learn all of it from everybody. Good things, bad things, how I want to do things, how I don't want to do things. So I'm still learning every single day, and I hope that that inspires you guys to want to learn more. I don't believe that I'll ever stop. So there you are. That is the end of today's video. If you liked it, please do give it a like. Leave a comment if you've got something you really want to say, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this. I will see you next time. Thanks again for watching. I hope you guys have a brilliant weekend. Bye.